The beginning of the Great Depression led to increasing strife between John Dobro and George Beecham. Since Dobro had discarded the idea of a single-cone guitar, finding the instrument inferior to the tricone, Beecham had patented the idea in his name. The two men parted company, but the commercial success of the new national single-cone models, the Duolian, Triolian and Style O, proved that Beecham's instincts had been right.
So, this guitar was all based on my yellow Triolian. Yeah. The first time I heard one of these things, like I must have been 17, and I thought, wow, that's how a guitar should sound. Yeah. So I basically tried to base everything that I make in wood on this wooden guitar, even my tri-plates. Because before the first wooden tri-plate that they made, that nobody's ever seen, yeah, was based on this model, yeah. It was even had a round colour plate on, but nobody's ever seen it, but there is a picture of it in a catalogue somewhere, yeah. No. So, like, everything I actually do was based wood-wise on this. For the bodies, I don't use solid wood, yeah, because I don't believe they work well in my guitars, or in national style guitars. I don't believe solid wood bodies work well, yeah. And since I said before, and I keep saying it, my old yellow Triolian, that's the one. You know, that's I base everything on it, and that's laminated, yeah. So I started making my own laminates, yeah. And every time I made a guitar, I didn't actually sell them, I was just making laminates to find how they were going, yeah. I'd make the guitar, I'd bring this one out, and if it didn't sound as good as this one, I remade another laminate. I used different woods, glued the woods together and started off again until I came up with the laminates that I use in this guitar, which is basically two kinds of laminates, one with a very hard back on it, and on the front it's a softer kind of wood. In the beginning, yeah, Don Young from National, yeah, all he made was resonator cones, yeah, and I used to buy his. And afterwards I started making guitars, and I realised that I can't buy the soul off somebody else, you know, or the heart off somebody else, I mean, and they don't work if I don't have that bit in the middle. So it was like, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And we started making frisbees. Lots and lots of frisbees that were going around the garden because they didn't work. You'd spin these things and you'd think, great, whoop, gone. You know, they just split open and things, yeah. Until we'd made loads and loads and loads, and one day it worked. Once we'd realised that they just work. So we actually learned how to make our own cones. And then when you actually make the one that looks perfect, great, we've got it. You put it in the guitar and you put the strings on, it goes, ugh. So why doesn't it work? So there's a lot more to it than just getting the right shape. I mean, in the beginning I was just happy to make something that looked like a cone. And once it was in there and it worked, it was like, well, that's fine now, isn't it? We can stop now. But after a week of doing this, it was like, well, we can't really stop now, because it didn't sound as good as my yellow Triolian, you see. This is my problem. My yellow Triolian is the guitar, yeah. So it was like, if they could put ribs on, spirals on it, we can. And in national style guitars, it's very important. In a Dobro guitar with a spider web on it, you don't have spirals on it. You know? But in the one that goes up with a biscuit sitting on the top, you need the spirals, because it just opens up all the sound. You know, that's where all the sound starts working. Yeah, the reverb and everything. Yeah, I don't feel like I've invented anything. Yeah, I just feel like I've carried on what Dobro did. Yeah, as maybe he would have liked to have done. Yeah. It has to sound like an old national, yeah? That's what we wanted to make in it. That's what I wanted to make.
After John Dobro left National, he founded the Dobro manufacturing company with his brothers. The new Dobro models were completely different from the old National guitars in both sound and construction. While the Dobro's sweeter, more nasal, harmonic-filled sound found its place in American country and bluegrass music, blues players worldwide swear on the raunchier, more biting tone of a single-cone National guitar. After much coaxing from his friends and clients, Mike Lewis recently built his first Dobro-style guitar. In true Mike Lewis tradition, he is aiming for the original sound of the first Dobros.
You have to play them alongside each other to know the difference. I mean, you obviously know the difference in sound, the warmth of a Dobro, because of the spider and everything. Mike's explained all that to me, but I've got a National as well, so I've got I've got one of each now, and I like the warmth of the Dobro really for the slightly more country tinge stuff that I'm doing with Norah Jones at the moment. So I play blues and a bit of I'm not really a bluegrass Dobro player. I kind of try and transfer the kind of blues stuff that I got across with the Dobro sound, you know. But so that's kind of where I am at the moment. It's 2 frets short of what I really wanted, but the sound is worth it. You know, there's the bod. Sounds like a proper Dobro. You know, it's really fat.
I only like old Nationals. There's a few old Dobros I really love them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to hunt around for a long time to find a Dobro with the intonation. The intonation is perfect. And it's consistent.
But I only need one really good Dobro, and I need about 12 or 15 old Nationals, yeah, and then I'm happy.
Obviously, when I started, and what is very desirable to everybody who goes into collecting national guitars, is to own something that is shiny and has palm trees on the back. And
this is what I call my replica of a 1932 National Stylo, or a Style N, because there's no palm trees on it, yeah. Which is basically the same as my wooden one. It's the same shape and the same forms, except it's in brass. Yeah. But the thing I like about it is the cut-out F-holes. Instead of being the rolled F-holes, I think the sound's nicer because the top's a little bit floppier.
I think the effect is to do with the bending of the metal and the stress that puts on the top of the body. It's in the way the metal on the top reacts. When it's bent, you get a different surface, a different tension than you get when it's not.
The F-holes, this is a strange thing, yeah? If you look on these, they're just cut out. Yeah? I'll show you one a bit later with rolled F-holes, yeah? And these are on the first old Nationals, yeah? Afterwards, the same guitar came along with rolled F-holes, yeah? Which made it slightly smaller, yeah? And since they were rolled into here, curved into there, yeah? It made the top stiffer, yeah? So it does change the sound, yeah? Some people prefer this sound for playing with the fingers, and some people prefer this sound with the cutouts for playing bottleneck. Yeah.
Metal and the way things sound is it's a very interesting area. For example, the slide that I have was made for me by a guy called Adam Timmins. It was bored out of a solid rod of steel rather than a tube of steel cut. And at the time, I didn't really take it that seriously when he said to me, you have to, if you're going to have a good tone out of a slide, you've got to bore a solid rod, not make a tube. And there is no question, there is a difference in the tone. If you have a slide made identical to that out of a tube, there is a difference in the tone between